That's the most important thing in life. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. They already mastered the voice. So I'm learning here. I'm a student. Let's see. I skipped this one. Okay. I start with Jody.
Oh, okay.
Because you are the master of the voice.
Makes sense.
And let's see, introduce yourself. Just explain to the community who you are and why you are here.
Beautiful.
Hello, everyone. Can you give yourself a round of applause for being here? Woo! Very excited to be all together. So my name is Jody Dontje. I'm a public speaking and emotional fitness coach. Right? So I help conscious leaders, people who see themselves as a leader in their business, a leader with their community, a leader in an organization, to own their voice of confidence, to overcome the fears that hold them back with owning their voice, whether that's public speaking or communication, and to help them with the emotional fitness tools to be able to flourish in their businesses, in their lives. Because when you think about it, we are where we are today based on every time we did or did not use our voice. Right? And we want to create a life of alignment and a life of abundance. We have to be able to have confidence in how we communicate, how we speak, how we connect. It's all about relationships. So I'm very happy to be here to bring a holistic lens to abundance and a holistic lens to public speaking and emotional fitness. Hey.
Next one, Carl.
Yeah. Okay, just speaking this one.
Yeah, it feels weird.
I'm the only one with the mic.
I didn't work out my elevator pitch before I came here, so I call myself a strategist. So I was in the military for 14 years and then consulting to Olympic Games for 5 years. But what I realised in that space was very fear-based, and that was pretty much the opposite of what I really wanted out of life, which was helping people remove fear. So at some point there was a transition there where I got into coaching. I've written a number of books over time and that sort of thing. And the last book I wrote was called 18 Ways We Make Life Way Harder Than It Needs to Be. So one of the things I love to do is work with people to help them make life easier by just sometimes making micro adjustments. So that's my thing at the moment. And that'll do for now.
Eliminating fear. Okay. And now it's Sara time.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me in Bali. I flew in last night just for this event, and I must say firstly, what is up with your traffic? What is going on with the traffic? I am a manifestation and a human behavior coach, because without being a human behavior coach, you will never truly manifest. So the human behavior side of things is it really sinks deep into the unconscious, because we are 95% unconscious thoughts. So I use the human behavior to rewire. So women, I work with women so they can manifest their dream body, their dream job, love, connection, whatever they are after, financial freedom. So, and I'm also a fitness coach. I've owned gyms for the last 16 years as well. So yeah, that's what I do, and I'm just really grateful to be here.
Thank you guys for your introduction. Now, I would like to start with a simple question. What does it mean for you abundance? We start with Jody, right? We do the same cycle.
Sure, okay. I'm so used to having the microphones. I'm like, all right. Abundance to me is living a life without limits, to live our life in the most aligned way, to do all the things we wish to do and to help the people we wish to help, and to live a life that we feel, when we look back on at the end of our life, that it was the most fulfilled, the most whole version of the life we could have lived. And the reason I say that is because abundance, yes, it is money, because money is an energetic tool that helps us to create that, right? But it's so much more than money. It's living a life of abundance in terms of abundance of health and abundance of relationships that are fulfilling, and abundance of impact, if that's what we're wanting to do with our careers and with our families. And for me, abundance is not money or something we attain. It's a way of embodying life. And I've worked with people all around the world. I've public speak for now 12 years. And when I work with different people, it doesn't matter what's in their bank account. What are they feeling in terms of their true level of abundance, the abundance frequency? I've had people who have lots and lots of money but they are not living a life of radical fulfillment, of freedom, of connection. They're very actually kind of in themselves and in their own fears and in their own pains. And then I've had people that I've helped who, you know, they've used their last bit of savings to work with me, and then their whole life has changed, and they've embodied that abundance even more, and we're even embodying it more than the people who had a lot of money. So to me, abundance is all of those pieces.
Is broad.
Yeah.
That was very broad. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it then, and the thought for me was, I want to feel abundant, so great about self without anything around me. So naked in my skin, I still have this sense of in the very bones of my body, like fulfillment for life. So again, it's not necessarily about the money thing. It is a feeling, and we want that feeling to be with us wherever we are in life, whatever's happening, whether it's in relationship, coming out of relationship, whether it's in job, coming out of job, whether it's with friends, or whether it's with friends passing. So abundance is really an inner gain, and then it manifests externally according to what you desire most.
Beautiful.
I believe abundance is an energy. And like Jody said, it's broad. It can be anything. But for most people that I work with, abundance is freedom. It's to be free from lack, limitation, scarcity, anything that is kind of holding you back. You know, abundance is living a life of fulfillment, of purpose, passion. That is true abundance.
The ability to do whatever you want, anytime you want,
Yeah.
With whoever you want.
with who you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to work as little as possible and make a lot of money.
Also abundance.
Yeah, that's abundance.
The keyword money, right? Which we know.
Yes.
But let's unpack money.
Let's talk about it.
Yes.
Love it.
I think
Let's do it.
let's start with you, because actually the way you said voice can activate money,
Yes.
it makes so much sense for me. But let's unpack it, right? So please share.
Yeah, having worked with people all around the world, and people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different experiences, I've seen a correlation that their abundance frequency and their ability to create money in a flowing, sustainable, fulfilled way really has to do with their alignment and their willingness to own their voice, right? And like, what is voice? Well, when you think about it, what's the first thing we do when we're born?
Cry.
We cry. We use our voice. We express ourselves. We literally go, hey, world, I'm here. I'm willing to be heard, right? I'm willing to take up space. I'm willing to put myself out there. And then what happens through childhood and traumas, experiences where we have pain and fears and all these, these external things that then tell us internally we're not good enough, we disconnect from the power we were born with. And when I help people, I help them in a holistic way to come back home to who they truly are. Right? To come back home to that truest essence of courage and alignment so they can speak from a place of authenticity, because we do not need any more people in the world who are speaking from a mask or speaking from the good girl or the labels that they put on themselves to fit in. But we want more people who are radically vulnerable, radically themselves. And so when I've helped people come back home to their authentic voice, then they're able to put boundaries into place, put themselves out on social media, speak up in their relationships, or leave a relationship and call in a more aligned relationship. They're able to have better connection with their family, to their children, and with their, ultimately, the people they work with, to create more abundance, to create more money as well, right? And I truly believe when we have a sense of alignment in all areas of life, our abundance frequency automatically goes up, and we can create more money. And then, therefore, we can use that money to help more people as well. So the voice is very much correlated to money.
Beautiful. And how do you activate people voice? Just to understand, what's your process?
Yeah, I created a formula called the Voice Formula, VOICE. A beautiful Pooja was in my embodied speaker weekend training a few weekends ago. She's absolutely flourished since then. Because I found that even when people came with different patterns of challenges, they were still very much the same. And so this formula kind of steps people through. So how it is we first got to get clear on who we are, what we stand for, what matters to us, our values, our vision, and then we align our personal brand, because what is your greatest asset? And don't say Bitcoin. Your greatest asset is you. Yeah, right? So by getting clear on what we value and what we have as our vision, then we can build our personal brand, us as an individual. Like I've had people join my programs and I've created abundance when I've met someone on a bus. Just because I'm embodying who I am, they can feel that. And that's what you want to do. You want to, in the work that you do, you live that. You are that. So I help people build their personal brand around their voice. And then obviously giving the tools around the masculine, which is stagecraft, engaging and captivating storytelling, like those tools as well, social media tools. But then also the feminine side, which a lot of people have done other public speaking programs, but they come to me still feeling like an imposter, not knowing who they are, using tools that are more to manipulate their audiences rather than to inspire them. And so I help with the feminine tools too, like helping people to be very intimate and intimately connected to themselves, knowing how to emotionally regulate and how to connect to other people with empathy and with emotional connection too. Because when we have the feminine and the masculine tools, then we are unstoppable when it comes to owning our voice and how we communicate and how we speak. So I bring both of the balance of those two. And there's other things too, but that's a brief.
Thank you. Thank you. So one of the tools that we understood we need to master is the voice to make money. At the moment, let's stay on money. Carl, what do you suggest?
About money?
Yeah.
What I think is like, as I look at everyone out there, everyone's got a different series and set of beliefs and life stories about what money is to them. So it can be a whole range of different things. And in the topic of money, I was trying to think of different case studies. I'd work with a guy who was a multi-millionaire many times over and that sort of stuff, friends of James Cameron and the Google boys and all that sort of stuff. So he's probably worth a few $100 million, had an island up in Canada and something down in Bahamas and something in Europe and that sort of stuff. But he came to me because he was like one unfulfilled in life. He had retired when he was 32. He was 45, wife and 3 kids and that sort of stuff. So that thing of no purpose. The other thing with money was he had lots of money, but he had scarcity around money. So for me, it was like a flow. So he'd sort of stopped the flow of money. So for me, when it comes to money, it's about the financial flow as opposed to how much I've got in my bank account. Can I generate more of this stuff and have that just comfortable feeling like I can make more when I need more? And that's a really empowering feeling. And that's, again, this inner thing. And we have to work our way through lots of different beliefs. So it's not only beliefs about money, which you've all got different things about. It might be personal things as well. I remember working through a belief when I first got into this game about 1999. I did some Tony Robbins work. And I had a belief that I was unlucky. And you can imagine where that takes you, You're just making poor choices and you're attracting and magnetising that sort of stuff to you. So you do some belief work and you switch that around and you start a belief system called I am lucky, and things start changing. But the other thing, and this is probably the direction I'll take the conversation over the course of the time together is, but I also changed my behaviour. So I did this internal work as some NLP work to do this belief switch. I am lucky, so I have that as my energy, my frequency, my vibration. But I also, at the physical, 3-dimensional, in reality space, start making different choices. And one of the main things, I stopped getting drunk on a regular basis because I realised I made so many poor decisions while I was drinking, and that resulted in me being unlucky. So for me, it's a two-pronged approach. We work on the internal stuff, we work on the energetic stuff, but we also need to work on the physical reality stuff.
So for now, we have the voice as a tool to unlock money and understand negative belief related to money. Sara.
Beautiful. I came into today with a very clear vision with what I wanted to serve. And as I was prepping for the event, I was like, you know what, I just wish to give everyone 3 steps to be able to live their most abundant life. And so I do invite you, I'm not going to give you the 3 steps right now and take over the panel, but I do invite you to take notes. Whenever I'm working with people, I'm always say take notes, because I think we only retain 10% of what we hear. So you're going to walk away and you're going to completely forget what we all said, unless you wrote it down and then you're like, oh, that's right. So I definitely suggest pulling out your phones and taking some notes. Step one for me, and I'm praying that I get through the 3 steps with you tonight, but step one is getting very clear on what your rich life looks like. Because this for me is manifestation. And if you don't know what you want, how, number one, are you going to achieve it? Number two, how is the universe going to come in and match that frequency? And if you're not spiritual and you don't believe in the woo-woo type of things, last year I flew all the way to Switzerland to go and do a course with Dr. Joe Dispenza, okay? And so I flew all the way over there, 30 hours to do a 3-day course. Oh, a bit like Bali. I flew over here for 1 hour. And he is, you know, I'm sure everyone knows that, you know, he is a doctor, he is a scientist, he is a researcher. And he puts the science behind manifesting. So it is a true thing. We are all energy. This water is energy. Yes. So when we raise our vibration, the universe matches that vibration. Whatever you want to call it, the divine, you know, God, source, whoever. The universe will match that vibration. So number one, is clarity. And it doesn't matter where I'm talking about body goals, money, whatever it is. Number one is always clarity. Get very clear on what your rich life looks like and feels like. And it could be, you know, just a life of freedom, whatever that is. Or it could be you love beautiful, shiny things like I do. You know, so number one, get very clear on what it is that you desire. Woo. I've got 2 more steps.
Okay.
Must finish it.
I've got 2 more.
Perfect, perfect. So now that we know that we need to have a clarity, my next question will be, I don't have any question, I'm just following the flow, right? So my next question will be,
What is number 2?
what is number 2?
I'm sorry. What's number 2?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm already learning a lot. Voice, it's very important to verbalize, to move yourself into the world and to actually interact with the people, right? I think that's and to impose to the universe, this is me, this is who I am, right? Is it also voice a tool to prompt the universe, to prompt the energy and say, this is what I want, right? And when you tell things to other people, that's when you are prompting, or if you speak by yourself with your mirror, you are prompting. I'm just, what do you think about that?
It's both. It's embodying what we desire in the current reality in all the ways, whether it's speaking it to ourselves or speaking it to other people, right? Because when we think about it, everything is about relationships. Everything. Like we want to create more money, we want to create the life that we desire. It's all about the relationships we have. And what is the most important relationship as well?
With yourself.
That's right, the relationship we have with ourselves. And this is why we can't truly make an impact for other people and truly connect to others until we know how to connect and feel that impact of that connection with ourselves, right? And so it's both, for sure. To create more abundance is to embody that confidence, that clarity within, and then being able to share that confidence and that vibration with other people as well, right?
So you're confident to speak with yourself, and you keep being the same person even when you are between other people.
Absolutely.
So you are embodying that frequency.
One of the things I get feedback on all the time is when people see me on social media or they see like videos of me speaking and then they meet me in person, they're like, oh my gosh, you're exactly the same.
Of course.
And that's because I make it an absolute value of mine to embody everything I teach. Because I've seen enough leaders and speakers who aren't embodying, and people can feel it. Like we're in the age of authenticity now. We need radical authenticity, right? And so for me, I don't want to teach anything that I don't feel is actually what I embody and it's important to me. And people can then feel that. So when you're embodying what you're teaching, people will gravitate towards you. You'll be magnetizing. People will want to work with you because they can feel your genuine care. They can feel your alignment. And that's a really important piece to unlock that next level of money as well. And I think one point I want to mention is, you know, before we were talking about like eliminate fear. What I really want for everyone to take away is it's not about getting rid of fear. It's not about getting rid of any part of ourselves. It's actually about accepting and being able to be with all parts of ourselves. Because there's sometimes teachers out there who say, your ego is the demon, or the fear is the demon, and whatever, they demonize these parts of us. But that creates internal turmoil, right? We will always have fear as part of us because that part of us keeps us safe. We do need that part of us. So instead of demonizing these parts, it's actually helping those parts of us to work with us, to build a relationship with those parts rather than those parts then becoming the enemy. And my whole life changed, and I reached the world stage of public speaking twice. Out of 35,000 people, I'm very grateful I reached the top 28 and was able to represent Australia. And none of those dreams would have come true with my business and such too if I didn't learn to accept all parts of me. I came from a background of racism, bullying, social anxiety, depression, eating disorders. I was so disconnected from myself, and I was having a continual internal turmoil. And people could feel that then externally. People wouldn't want to work with me because they could feel that I was in this, fight or flight state. But as soon as I came back home to myself and I was able to embody and become connected and accept all parts of me, other people could feel that too. And that's when my business went to multiple 6 figures a year. All the speaking desires I had came true. And we feel aligned energetically, and with our emotions, we can create more of what we desire aligned on the external, including money.
Beautiful. I have an idea. So in 3 years, I'm going to be a TED Talk speaker.
Yes.
Right?
Awesome.
Right, that's something. Now, I have a lot of fear around it. How do I identify what's the fear that is holding me back?
What is the fear holding you back?
I don't know yet. If I know, I don't have it anymore. I mean, if I am aware of my fear,
it's just...
I choose not to believe in it anymore. The problem is, how do I identify the fears that I'm not aware of?
I like the idea of curiosity versus judgment, different frequencies. So if you stay curious about what is it that I'm telling myself that's causing me to have this experience, and just keep playfully, curiously, trying to get to root cause. And there might be some root cause there. There might be some significant emotional event that happened in your past that's caused you to have some particular belief that takes you to this point. I just worked with a girl the other day, and she had a belief like her mum had told her, and it was, her mum in love had told her this thing. She said, you can do anything that you want to do, but you need to be the best. And she would say that in a nice way, but the best means number one. So that means anything that isn't number one, you're going to feel miserable. So how hard is it to be abundant, have an abundant life, an ideal lifestyle and all that sort of stuff with that belief? So, part of our work is just, and I've been doing this work since 1999, so 26 years, I'm 56 next month, whatever. It's just these, if triggers come up, it's just working our way through it again, curiously. What is it that I'm telling myself that's causing me to feel that? And, in compassionate love to self, it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then you might have different tools, techniques and strategies to work your way through that. But it's just what's coming up.
It's working. I already understood that. First of all, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't have clarity on my message. So, okay, it's working for me.
That's actually a really great question. I love that question because it leads me into number 2. And so number 2 is the woo-woo side, okay? It's the spiritual side. And I work with spirit and matter because if you're too spiritual, we're in Bali, so I can't resonate it with something with Bali. But if I'm from Australia, so I would say you'd be like living in Nimbin, no shoes on, just out with the fairies. But so you've got to work with spirit, the energy, and systems. Okay, you need to do both. Okay. So number 2 is the subconscious. So we're 95% unconscious. So it's about bringing forward what's really being stored. Like what Jody said before, we've built up over our life trauma, conditioning, programming, things that our mother said to us when we were younger that we have stored in our brain. And that is actually the driver of our life. So even to answer you with the TED Talk, so step number 2, and this is really kind of basic stuff that I wanted to leave you with today, is so you've got your big goal, you've got clarity. So you've got number 1, you've got your TED Talk, okay? And then number 2, what are all the things well, 3 things, okay, let's keep it simple. What are 3 things that I'm saying around TED Talk? I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. All the things around money. I am broke. I never have money. I can't afford that. You know, people with money are unhappy. Okay, yeah, right, guys? Guys, I'm telling you, my friends, I have friends that always say, I'm broke, and I'm like, you're killing me. You are killing me. So what I want you to do is write down the 3 things that you have around, the negative things that you've got, okay? You don't even realize that they're there. Write it down, then you're going to reframe it. Then you're going to write the opposite, and whatever feels good for you. So I love money and money loves me. I am financially abundant. I am rich. I'm living my life with purpose and passion. Like whatever it is, the opposite. But it has to resonate with you. Now, to rewire your subconscious, you do it through 4 ways. Reading, writing, how we speak, and how we... also, sorry guys, I want you to, once you've got your affirmations, okay, I want you to read them 3 to 5 times a day per affirmation. So you've got 3 to 5 times each day for a minimum of 21 days. You will then begin to rewire your subconscious. It's honestly, it's actually really, am I allowed to swear? Sure, great, go for you. It's really basic shit. It's actually a lot more simple than we think. We overcomplicate everything. It's like going to the gym. People start to freak out. It's just like, put on your shoes and just go to the gym, okay? This is not complicated. Get very clear on what it is. That's kind of fun anyway. Number 2, what's all the shit that I'm saying? Write it down. Opposite, read it. I stick post-it notes all through my house. And even when I'm driving in the car, I will be like, I've got one at the moment. If Catherine Sankina can do it, so can I. She's like this ginormous manifestation coach that I love. And I'm just like, if she can do it, you could do it with a TED Talk speaker.
Yeah.
You know what I did?
Yeah, what?
I recorded my voice,
Yeah.
and I sleep with the headphones telling me the things that I want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, there you
In
go.
my mother tongue,
Sleep.
you know, not
There
even
you
in
go.
Italian, in Napolitan, which is the language that my mother speaks with me. It's probably the root language. And that's how I drive around Bali. You know, I use the time to
There you
rewire my
go.
subconscious.
Yeah, so that's like rewiring your subconscious. So I hope that helped.
It's working. Yeah. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And okay, let's continue with my TED Talks.
It's really why you
Let's
brought us
make
all
this
here
about
together.
me.
So let's say I'm deciding to, because of fear, that I'm going to speak in 3 years to a TED Talk. But what if I put too much time in between, right? So how do I reduce the timeline?
Becoming the person that you envision is giving that TED Talk. Time is irrelevant. We can collapse time. In the quantum, there is no time. There's been times where there's things that I've manifested and have created way quicker than I would have if I said it has to be in this timeline. I actually often remove the timelines because for me, I can actually go faster in creating that. And so it's more, who is that person at the end of that desire or whatever it is? So you on that TED Talk stage, who is that version of you standing there, right? He's clear, he's connected, he's confident, he's in a service mindset, he knows storytelling tools, he has these, he's this. So then you can break down the who and your identity, the knowledge and the skills that person would have, the values and the knowledge, and all these pieces, including even what is he wearing. And you can collapse time and become that so much more quickly, right? Like, I really know someone who could even get you on the TED Talk stage like way sooner. So it's not about saying to ourselves, in 2 years' time, then I'll be enough and I'll be ready. No, who is that person? And can you take the steps today to start becoming that person and making those shifts? You know, I came from a background with very little money. We moved to 16 different houses before I turned 18 years of age. I've had to do a lot of work myself to create the amount of abundance and money that I live and create now. And one of the things that I also did was I would actually go and work in high vibe places.
And I would sit there and I'd feel like an imposter, right? I'm sitting around like multimillionaires and all of that. And they're just like free, whatever, restaurants and such, right? And I'd sit there and I'd order a minimal drink or whatever, and I'd just sit there and I'd work with my nervous system to be like, it's safe for me to be here. I belong. It's okay, right? And I'd sit with my little girl who's like, I don't belong here and I'm going to be kicked out and rejected. I'd sit with my teenager who's like, people are judging me and what are they thinking? And I'd just be with all those parts of me until my energy, my nervous system on a physiological level felt safe. It's all about safety. And then I'd be like, okay, now I know I am that woman who wants to create that multiple six-figure business because my nervous system knows it's a match now. And then I collapsed time, and it happened so quickly after that. So what do you feel unsafe around? And use that as you're curious. We mentioned curiosity before, as that curious anchor to start to explore what can you start to then help your nervous system feel safe with and around. And you do that, you can collapse time, and you could do a TED Talk in the next few months.
So the goal is not in 3 years' time. It's when I am embodying this personality that I want to. When actually I already am that personality, I'm gonna search any TED Talks around.
That's
maybe,
right.
yeah.
And help your nervous system
Yeah.
and all the pieces
Yeah.
become that, and you could do it so much sooner.
I mean, you could also just put some footnote down there, or sooner.
Exactly, you could add that too.
Or sooner.
Or
and then
sooner.
that
Absolutely.
just relaxes the
Yes.
tension.
Do you think should we put it on a calendar or not? So does it help?
Different strokes for different folks. Like for some people it might be they work better if it's compressed more. Someone might work better if they don't have that sitting over the top of them. And I just did a yoga teacher training about a few weeks ago at the practice here. And I've been doing yoga since 1999, so I'm very interested in it. And Dr. Jody Spencer, a lot of his work is based on yogic principles. He calls them energy centers as opposed to chakras. But, traditional yoga, I call modern yoga Insta yoga. Traditional yoga was really the science of thriving. They were trying to work out how they could thrive in life in all areas, exactly the same as what we're talking about here. And one of the things they talked about was, there would be different practices to get them into peak state, and then in peak state, that's when you put the seed in there. So it's Sankalpa, it's called. So it might be Yoga Nidra, get in an elevated peak state, then plant the seed. Joe Dispenza does the same thing, realises if we get into an elevated emotional state, that's where we want to be when we put it in. So part of the work is, around this fear thing. Fear for me, reduces our ability to be creative. So I'm very practical, very strategic. So there's sometimes I say, sometimes we might have to do the grind of the job we don't really want to do to bring in the amount of money to survive. So we've got, the survival thing of Maslow's hierarchy of needs taken care of. Now I can get into creativity because now I can actually start taking that energy upwards and actually start getting into those elevated emotional states. So there's some practical elements to it as well. So we do all this inner work, but if we find that we're in that fear state, we're like, okay, I need to do some practical stuff in this 3D reality to get myself out of that. And it's still doing the inner work as well, but there might be some physical, practical things. It might be picking up the phone and having a conversation with that person who knows more about something than yourself. So I'm very much about the emergence of the spiritual and the practical. So let's be strategic. I like the idea of head, heart, and gut. Head, coming up with these creative ideas. Heart, I'm strong desire for something. Gut, sort of telling me yes or no to things. So the integration, and we talked about alignment. Once we get all of that stuff aligned, that's when this, source energy starts moving through us, and we start manifesting like crazy.
Yes.
But it's like a wobbly wheel on a shopping trolley. It only needs to have one wheel that's wobbly like that. It's all over the place. Once it's in alignment, then you're off. So it's what do we need to do to get in alignment, and then we start. Once we've got our clear vision, okay, I've got that clear vision.
Yeah.
Then it's like off to the stars.
Beautiful. I have a question for you.
Yes.
That's it.
What is the third step?
Yeah, I was going to say, what was the third step?
to speak.
Can I please just, are we running out of time? No. Oh, no, okay. I just want to say something about what you had asked. And a really great thing that I learned over the years, you know, studying human behavior was, so say you've got your goal, okay, or you've got your goals. And the person, I'll tell you right now, the person sitting in this room today is going to be a completely different person. And exactly what Jody said, you need to become the new identity, okay? So the third step, which is going to be take aligned action, but that is a part of it, but also becoming this new identity, okay, so write that down, becoming a new identity, and it's just small compounding steps to regulate your nervous system, because right now, say you're sitting here right now and you're in debt, but you really dream of earning 7 figures a year, going on these beautiful trips to Europe, flying business class, whatever it is, okay? But right now you're sitting and you're earning 50K a year. Your nervous system is not going to be able to handle that. So you, like exactly what Jody said, you've got to bring it all back and slowly create this new identity. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, which I love how much we're talking about him. And one of the most easiest ways to do this as well is simply by visualizing. So every single morning, and this is what I always tell my clients, every single morning when you wake up, set your alarm, you wake up, sit up so you don't fall back asleep. And for 5 minutes, you really only need to do it for 3, visualize the shit out of your life. And let it be, go wherever it needs to go. You know, you could be visualizing your money abundance. You could be visualizing what it's like to pay off those credit cards. You could be visualizing you being on a plane. 3 minutes every single morning is the minimum that you need to do. And that starts to create the new identity.
And in reality, the visualization works not because visualizing it in our brain creates the reality we want, it's because we act based on that visualization. Correct?
Well, it begins to rewire. And then what actually happens, you start to visualize it, then you start to take action. So say I want to have this dream body, okay? And I'm visualizing what that looks like and what that feels like. And then in the morning, instead of going and having no breakfast or a really shitty, unhealthy breakfast, I'm gonna be like, right, I'm gonna make myself some eggs this morning. Eggs and sourdough. I'm gonna go to the gym. You actually start changing your behaviors because you've been visualizing it and you're in that frequency, or say you're visualizing a lover. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, like you're just in that frequency. And remember what the universe does? It matches your frequency. So Dr. Joe Dispenza is like, visualize the shit out of your dreams every single day. It's so easy.
Beautiful. When you know it's easy, the difficult part is not believing in the process, I think.
Well, you've got to try. I mean, everyone sitting in this room, okay, and listening, they are already half there, you know? All it now is doing the work, which is my actually step 3. But
Take aligned action.
Any of you want to...
Oh, I love that. I was like, do the work.
You have 3 coaches. Okay, perfect. And then you continue with the questions.
Okay, so what if, let's flip this, what if you are doing all of these things and there's still a resistance, right? And you still feel like there's some kind of ceiling, you've done the visualization, you've done the repetition, affirmations, you've done the journaling, you've done the trauma work, the screen, you've done all these things, and there's still something that you can't really see that's creating this resistance. At that stage, what is it that you need to do to unlock that?
would you like?
I can do it. Go for it.
Oh my
I'll go
God,
after.
I love these questions. I mean, there's a few things, but what I would say first is bring it back a little, bridge it, start to bring it back so your nervous system can handle it. Okay, so really start to bring it back, and just slowly make compounding changes, because it's just going to compound and compound and compound, and then the universe is going to match. Keep doing the rewiring, speak, behave, read, write. And also there is a blockage there. So sitting with yourself, because we always know the answer, by the way. We always know the answer. So it's sitting with yourself and going, what's my goal? And you've written out the things that you think about it, and there's a block. What is holding me back? Do you know how many times I've sat with myself and I'm in this most amazing relationship now, and I've got a history of trauma bond relationships, and I was just sick of it. And I did a few years of being single, and I, wasn't dating or anything. I had enough, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I sat with myself, and it came to me. So you will always know the answer. And then once you realize the blockage, then you can work on healing it, because you've got to bring awareness to it. And then you need to integrate it. So yes, I would bring the goal back and then work on the blockage. I hope that helped.
Yeah. And can I add on to that as well?
I know, this is great.
So good.
My vibe.
Yes, I know. I love that question. And there's two things I want to add on to. Sarah, put it so beautifully. One is building on that whole sitting with that part. Let's say that part of you is called the resistance part, right? So it's actually sitting with, okay, resistance, where are you? Where are you in my body? It's like, okay, resistance feels like my head is pounding, and resistance feels like a tightening in my stomach. And you sit with that resistance part, and then you can ask that part of you, what would you like to share with me? And that part could say, I know you're doing all the things, but I don't want you to succeed, because then you're going to be in danger. Right? And then you're like, okay, resistance part. Always thank the parts of us that are sharing these insights, that clarity, right? Because we have the clarity within. And we create that space, and we be with that part. And then you could ask that part of you, you're trying to protect me. When was the earliest time in my childhood where you took on this protective role? And this is the work that I do, is parts work and internal family systems work. And you go back to that original memory, and often it's a particular experience where that part of you at that time, because we weren't the adult yet, that part kicked in to protect us at a time that we couldn't figure out what to do or how to feel or process. And then it's carried that role throughout our whole entire life until we're an adult, right? And so it's not until we then have the adult awareness to be able to go, you don't have to hold that role anymore. And then that part of us can let go of its protective role, still be a beautiful part of us, but no longer be sabotaging in not taking the actions, or sabotaging in whatever, going back to the unhealthy relationship patterns or whatever else. So whenever we're noticing patterns continue, there's probably a protective part creating that to try to protect us, maybe not doing a great job at it because it's not creating a great outcome, but we've got to be, being able to understand that, a lot more too. Like if I can bring some vulnerability, I had a part of me that was the bulimic part when I was younger. And that part of me came in because I didn't know how to handle the anxiety and depression my dad was going through, and the anger challenges that my mum was having. And I was trying to keep it all together to be the girl that was achieving at school, being the big sister, being the good girl in the family that's helping everybody. The only way I could cope in that situation, instead of taking my life, was the bulimic part that gave me a sense of control. And so that part of me, I used to feel a lot of shame around. But now that I've sat with that part of me and I love that part of me, I realized that part of me saved my life. And it was once I healed that part of me and was able to develop a really great relationship with that part of me that my abundance tripled, right? So it's really important that we do the work, and we know that every single part of us is a beautiful part of us. And the second piece to answer that question really quick is just, we can do everything in our human power, and then we just have to trust. Yeah, to let go of the control and step back and go, God, angels, universe, whatever we believe in, I've done my part. I've done all I know humanly possible. I've followed the intuitive next aligned actions. I've followed what my new identity is sharing to do. Now I've just got to trust. Because as Gabby Bernstein explains, believing supports receiving. We just have to believe that we've done all we can, and now we leave it up to a force greater than us to help us. And those are the times where I've created things in so I have a vision, and then it's a reality so quickly, because I've done what I could, and then just went, okay, now please guide me, help support me. And then I've met the right person, or I've met the right coach or whatever it is, and then time's just gone, phew, and accelerated. So I trust that supports too.
Surrender. Love it.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Did you want to add anything?
The only thing that popped to mind was gratitude. So even gratitude for the experience that you're going through, which might be the thing the universe is doing to help you to expand into the person you need to be. I'm working with a client at the moment and she's got an extremely challenging court case coming up, custody battle and all of that sort of stuff. So we're at the point now, I'm training her as I would train an athlete leading up to an event and that sort of stuff, prepping her nervous system and all that sort of thing. But sort of, coming up to it and doing as much as we can to be in the right state for it, and her getting to the point, even though it's extremely painful and she wouldn't wish it on anyone, getting to the point of some sort of understanding that maybe, there's something in this experience that is for me. And I'm outside and I can see that she's become a 2.0 version of herself, like terrible circumstances to go through and that sort of stuff, but it's caused her to stop being constricted and contracted in her relationship and even, whatever she was taught by her parents. So it's allowed her to bust out. So sometimes, life works in interesting ways, and it is about that surrender thing and trusting there's something bigger going on here, and when you might release that might release the constriction. The other thing Joe Dispenza teaches is and
Go Joe tonight.
yeah, and it's taught in coaching as well, needy is creepy. So if someone's clinging on too hard, over desiring, so there's a thing where you get so caught up in, the death grip of things that you're choking out the opportunity for something to come through. So we need to have this bit of a dance with things to like, am I struggling? Am I holding up? Maybe I need to just relax for a little while and just see what, comes through, comes up for me. So that needy is creepy.
From needy,
I like that one.
That's
Needy
a
is
good one.
creepy, yeah.
yeah, actually from the feeling of I need this or I need a man or woman in my life, I deserve it.
Yeah.
And you just focus on what you deserve. Who is next? Anyone who want to ask a question to the coaches?
Can I tell a story?
Sure.
So I had a client from... Okay. So I had a client from Singapore, so originally English, and she was coming over and she was telling me this story of this dark cloud that she had following her around, and her friends are telling her you must have had karmic debt from a past life and all that sort of stuff. And her story was she manifested $1 million. It was like an inheritance. Wow. So she has this $1 million comes in, and then her partner at the time, her husband at the time, he'd been a chief financial officer and that sort of stuff, was starting up his own investment business. So he's decided to invest her money, and maybe you can understand where this story is going to go. Ends up losing the entire amount of money. So when I sort of work with her, like I realise, and asking enough questions, what she did was like just handed this money over to her husband and just like was la 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 la. Like, so part of it was, I hope this money works out well for me, but I'm not going to learn anything about money. I'm not going to have a conversation about money. I'm not going to do any of these practical things about it. So we can manifest this stuff, but we also need to be practical and strategic about how we do it. If we want to get good with money, like in my early days, I was reading a bucket load of books on money, whether it's, The Richest Man in Babylon or Think and Grow Rich, or The Millionaire Fast Lane, or Tony Robbins' book on money or whatever. So we need to educate ourselves to understand this, which reduces our fear, and we have a better relationship with it. Read books on how to make money, so we get a better understanding about how to make money. So there's those practical things to do as well. So again, the two-pronged approach, we work on the internal stuff to create this alignment so this energy can move through us. We get very clear about our vision, we do all of those things, and then we do some practical stuff along the way as well.
May I add on to that?
I'll add on after you.
Fill your boots.
I love this topic.
So good. That was step 3, by the way. It's do the work. And it's always do the work. So take aligned action. And because we're here talking about money, so I would suggest getting very clear on what's coming in, what are your overheads, then looking at your bank account, going, what am I spending my money on? Because you'll be surprised. Seeing even like, and doing little things like subscriptions that you don't need, get rid of them. It's starting to do the work, cleaning it up. You know, do you need to buy a cup of coffee every day? Actually, because I was prepping for this today, I worked out if you spend $7, because I think a coffee in Sydney is about $7. If you spend a coffee every day, buy a coffee every day, it's $2,500 a year. Like, that's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
You know, it's start taking action. But also, not only small things, it's also making big sacrifices. Okay? Is there things that I can really pull back on to invest and make smarter choices, or build a fuck you fund, like people like to call it, to start to really feel safe around money, have an awareness around money, and then you start to, your frequency becomes higher and higher. So yeah, it's do the work, do the work, do the work.
Have you read the book Your Money or Your Life by Vicky Robin?
No.
So she'd written the book in the 90s and rewrote it, a new edition, that sort of stuff. But absolutely fantastic, talking about, you know, getting to the point of having a spreadsheet where you're tracking every bit of money coming in and every bit of money going out, and breaking it down into line items. I've even got it eating in, eating out on weekends versus weekdays, chocolate, because I was eating so much chocolate. So you can actually track at the end of it, and it's just that accountability piece for self. So you start to, you know, see where your money is going and understand if you're wasting money, like buying shit you don't need. Like it's only when it's there that you're actually going to start those good practices and have a more joyful relationship with it. You know it much better.
And if you need to make more money, it's like, have a think. And I'm all about working as little as possible and making most money. So I'm not telling you to, you know, work yourself into the ground. But maybe get a second job, you know, but do something around what you love to do, you know, something creative. And it could be where you're just putting in a few hours on the weekend and it's bringing in $100 or $200 or something like that. You know, it's like start doing the work to raise your frequency and to bring the money in.
And I think too, when you're doing the work, you're sending a signal out,
Yes.
not only to the universe, but everyone around you as to what it is that you most desire.
Yeah.
So you're like moving in that direction. And once you start moving, if you're stagnant, you only see what's around you, only hear around you, you've got this perception here. So even if you're not sure exactly, start walking in a direction, just so you get a different perspective of things.
I'd love to add a different perspective to that as well. When we create spreadsheets and we break down what's going in, what's going out, that can really support to face the truths, to start to become intuitive with money, you know, to do that. And I want to add on that if I was to do that all the time, I would really not have a great relationship with my abundance. To me, as a feminine, I look at the amount and why I want to call that in, and not so much the breakdown of every single thing that's going in and out, because then I would feel so restricted, and then that scarcity would create more scarcity around my money. So what I'd love to say is we got to feel what's right for us and what aligns for us.
Yeah, I have fun doing a spreadsheet.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
So
not
that
a
works
spreadsheet
well.
person at all,
Yeah.
but I'll do write
So
it
it's
down.
whatever works. It's all about
Exactly.
what works for me to keep me in that non-fear state
100%.
with source
feel
energy
good.
moving through me.
Exactly, because for some of you, that is your jam. You're like, yes, I want to go ins and out and do it all the time. And for others like me, like I get
too,
so
babe.
restricted doing that, right? So I want to give that different perspective. I want for you all to really take away as well that the how will always figure itself out. Yeah, I made a goal with my accountant. I was going to pay off my student loans because I was a teacher before I became a public speaker and a coach. And I had $25,000 of student loans. And working with what we talked about before about, like, I'd love to pay this off within 12 months or less, right? Or less. And then I set a little goal for myself. Like, the how's always going to figure itself out. What if I could collapse time and pay it off way, way quicker, like way quicker than 12 months? The how will figure itself out. I got so clear in my why, my intention, my energy, in my alignment to that goal, I paid off the $25,000 in 18 days. The how figured itself out.
Yeah.
Literally, I had funds coming in, a client came in that I wasn't expecting, a gift that came in, a reimbursement. it just all figured itself out. And then 18 days later, I'd paid off all my student loan debt. Yeah. And so I went all in though, right? I was really like I need to believe to receive. So I went all in energetically, and the how figured itself out. So just know you are all very powerful, and you can create what you desire way beyond what your practical mind thinks you can in the time frame that you think you can. Yeah, so
I love your collapse time.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm taking that with me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use that with my clients, and they're going to think that I came up with it. I'm like, right, guys, we're collapsing time today.
And then they watch this and they go, hang on a second.
Always, always.
Beautiful. Well done. Well done. Stella, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, like I have a question, which is, I love the conversation. It's awesome. And it's also like a lot that we're talking about, like personal, like perception and relationship with money and how we work with self. And I guess I'm just reflecting on that I have this thing, and maybe I really resonated what you said, Jody. Probably I have a kind of a savior thing from my childhood because of my dad and my mom. But I always kind of felt this like responsibility of taking care of others. And then like I'm like kind of at a point where like it's not like on a personal level I'm good, but I'm feeling not the pressure, but I'm just feeling the question of like, okay, what's next? Like, how do I like better take care of my team? Like, and then I'm just seeing all these like, you know, things or needs or other people, and how do you kind of like the whole conversation on inner work, and then the boundaries and how that relates with others, maybe family or team, or sometimes like bigger like social issues, and how the whole money conversation like how do you work with that in this sense? I'm curious. Like, I don't know if the question makes exactly sense, but we talk about like a personal relationship and how we manifest for like in ourselves, but then how is it affected, influenced, or how does it relate in our context with others?
Okay. Well, I would say we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are, right? Like Wayne Dyer. So it's like the amount of times I've had when I've shifted my own internal beliefs and the way I view the world, the people around me changed. You know, I had the belief that my parents would never want to do any of the work that I do. And then I changed that and I shifted, and I just became completely detached to them needing to be a certain way. And I just lived my own alignment. And then my mum for Mother's Day asked what course I was studying, and I bought it for her for Mother's Day. And then she literally messaged me. She's like, I'm going for a walk and listening to my course.
Oh, I love that.
And it's just wild. I never would have
ripple
expected that
effect.
she would do that. So it's like the more we embodied ourselves, we do create the inspiration with others. But our role is not to rescue other people. It's to become such an embodied inspiration in our own life that we cannot help but inspire people. But it's important not to go around, and we call it in coaching, like being like a coaching wanker in the way of trying to save everybody. No, everyone can save themselves. Everyone is their own hero. All we can do is to be the most embodied and aligned person within our lives, and then the rest will do, you know, its own work. So for you, it's sitting with that rescuer, savior part of you, and not trying to get rid of it, because I love that part of me, right? Because it helps us to be empathetic, it helps us to serve. But it's being able to be with that part of us and making sure that it's not coming from a place of I have to, otherwise I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not lovable.
Yeah, I know. I had that like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh my God, like I've been sitting with this for so many years, and I'm like, wow, it's so big. Like when that kind of like lifts, it's like, whoa, it feels so good.
Integrate,
But
always
yes.
integrate it. Love, compassion, kindness, all your shadows. Love, compassion, kindness.
I mean, in the traditional yogic teachings too, they talk about there needs to be a counterbalance for empathy. So if we're too empathetic, we get walked over, our boundaries get crossed and that sort of stuff. So there needs to be a level of consciousness. And that's why a lot of the practice is about how can we raise our level of consciousness. So you need to be conscious, like, is my helping this person actually helping this person? Does this person actually need my help, or do they need to fall flat on their face? And that's the thing they need. Am I helping to serve some need for myself so I can be seen as a martyr, so I can be seen as these things? So again, trying to understand why I'm doing these things and bringing that level of consciousness and curiosity to why am I doing this thing? And you might be able to unpack some layers there.
Oh, thank you.
Pleasure.
Can you pass the mic?
Yeah, I have another question. I'm curious. So let's say, generally you're in a good state of mind, you're doing the work, you're working out, you're waking up, you're doing your visualizations, you're writing down your affirmations, you're going to your work, you're doing the work, right? And let's say nothing is happening, right? My question is, what's going on there? And a follow-up question to that would be, obviously, like everything you read is like, don't manifest from a place of lack. But if you are in a place of lack, it's very hard, right? So what is the advice around that? Let's say you aren't earning very much money. It's very hard to change your mindset, right? What would your advice be what would your advice be for that? Let's say if you are in a maybe more
Shitty
negative
position.
place. Yes, exactly.
Well, for first one, the work always works. So if you're doing the work, if you're taking care of yourself, if you're doing the practices, it's going to work.
Yes.
Always going to work. Like what Jody said, it just starts flowing in. And you're like, I had one client say to me, she said to me, I can't keep up with all my manifestations. They're like coming at me. So I swear that was her words. I can't keep up. They're coming all at once. And it's like, fuck. But so the work will always work. So just surrender and trust. Okay, I promise it will work. And when you're earning not great money, so that you're living in fear and scarcity, and and when you think about money, there's restriction in your chest or wherever that feeling is. Do the work. Go get another job.
What if you already have multiple jobs? Like I legit do.
Maybe okay, that's great then. So maybe you need to look at your living arrangements and go, where can I really cut back? Do I need to go and live with 5 people opposed to 2 people? I mean, I'm just being very extreme. But, or can I consolidate my 5 jobs and just get one good job? Or can I do some education so then I can get paid a higher job? So really taking a look at your lifestyle, where can I make changes just for right now, just this in this one stage of life, where can I make some changes? But I promise you, if you start doing the work and shifting that feeling of lack and limitation and sit with that, so that's something that you could just work on for the next month, just releasing the feeling that you have, getting it out on paper, rewiring it, visualizing, and I promise you, things will begin to shift.
I mean, you can also drive to some shitty place in Bali and get some perspective. So sometimes we think we've got it tough or life is bad or whatever. I've got a whole bunch of workers that have been working around my place that are getting paid shit all money, sleeping in shitty places and that sort of stuff. The poorest white person is like living it larger than a lot of these people. Yeah. So sometimes we get caught in our own shit. So we need to get out of that little story that we're telling ourselves about how lacking we are. When we're like, no, let me go and see what real lack is. Then I start coming from a place of gratitude, appreciation, thank you, God, life source for what I have in my life. That shifts your energy. So shift your energy as you're doing this work and you'll get different experiences.
May I also add, and just respecting the money that you've got now. Just being so appreciative and grateful for the money and just really respecting it. Because when you start to...
Bless you.
Bless you.
I'm so grateful to be alive and be able to sneeze.
I grew up dirt poor. Like, we had nothing, My father died when I was really young. My mum was a single mother. She was an alcoholic. I had a really tough childhood. And so when it came to money, I always had a good job because I've always worked really hard and been really passionate. But I can spend money. I'm like this, So it comes in and I'm like, let it roll, baby, let it rain. And so when things really started to shift for me is when I started respecting my money more. And just, going, okay, what am I earning? What are my overheads? What am I spending my money on? Not to be really tight around it, just to have an understanding. And then instead of being like, make it rain, baby, all the time, going, For example, so flying to Bali, I usually fly business always, and I was like, the flights are $4,000 and I'm only here for 2 days. And I was like, the economy was 2,000, and I thought, oh God, I haven't, been in economy, for a while. But I thought that's totally disrespecting my money for 2 days to spend $4,000. So I flew economy, and the universe will reward me for that. Well, actually, I got my accommodation in a 5-star resort for free, and one of my clients bought it for me to say thank you. So the work works. So just having respect for your money as it is right now, even if it's a little, just really respecting it and being grateful.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Both of those points were so powerful. And to add on to that, just be aware of the people that you hang around most of your time as well.
Oh, yes.
Because if I was to hang around my family, for example, for a really extended period of time, like I'd have to do double as much work to get back into that frequency. So, my life started shifting too when I started surrounding myself with people who were the vibration of who I wanted to become, and to do the nervous system work to feel worthy to be friends and be around those types of people.
I love that.
Because even if we're doing the work, and if we're always with somebody who's constantly saying like, money sucks, I hate money, money's bad, like all these, and I'm broke, we're constantly around that, it's challenging. It's not impossible to raise our vibration, of course, not at all. We can do the work. It just makes it a bit more challenging, right? So being able to be around people who are more of the representation, the frequency of who we want to become is so important. And that's why this journey around abundance, it's not something that's a light journey. It's a journey to really face the mirror and look at truths. And it does sometimes mean letting go of what's no longer aligned. And that can be tough. And to bring some vulnerability, I walked away from an 8.5-year relationship where I thought 100% this was the man I was going to marry. When I started doing the deep vision work and the deep values work, I was like, those visions, those values are not going to manifest in this relationship. And that was really challenging because it was 8.5 years, right, of dedication. And yet it was the best decision I could have made, because the people I'm meeting now and the life that I'm living now are like so much more aligned once I let go of the environment and the relationship that was no longer at the vibration of who I was becoming. Right. So it's really important that we do sometimes need to make tough choices. But it is for the benefit of everyone involved, always. If we're making decisions from our highest self and our highest purpose, it will benefit everybody at the end of the day. So I know he's going to be way more aligned in his life from us than also not being, together. So it's really important that we look in the environment around us too. Yeah.
Well said. Any more questions from the audience?
And they're good ones.
I say that to my gym when the coach goes, because I always participate, I don't coach anymore, and the coach will always go, any questions? And I'm always like, only good questions.
Well, I wasn't saying only good, because I was saying so far we've had great questions. There's no pressure to it have to be.
Only ask good questions.
I have one question. What are your favourite ways to regulate your nervous system?
Breathe.
Practical way. So I breathe, I do EFT tapping, going for walks, being in nature. I'm just curious.
Good quality yoga.
Yeah.
So the very traditional stuff it's all about energy management.
Yeah.
It's not about how it looks. We put a posture in this way because it causes our body to move this way, which causes us to breathe this way, which influences the nervous system in this way. And, that's the process of doing it. So, there is a lot of science in the more traditional teachings of it. So yoga, definitely. Yeah, emotional freedom technique is a great one. Wim Hof is one of the easiest ones because, he talks it through. You can chuck some headphones in and listen to it. So if I'm working with a client that's been stressed out for a long period of time, I think they've fried their nervous system, which allows less energy to flow through their body. It might be they need to get back to the practical of rewiring, recalibrating their nervous system. So it might be breath work like that. His stuff works. He's been in a lab enough times. Enough people have done it. So, it's been verified. The yogic breath work, traditional stuff, been validated, verified. Even a breathing pattern of, 8-4-8-4, something like that. Savitri, you're just in a relaxed state. But again, if you've fried your nervous system over a long period of time, it might take time for that recalibration to happen. So it's all about that consistency, you know, showing up every day and doing the work like that. And then there's bigger techniques. Ekadasi is like a 11-day Kriya or something like that, builds up over time. So start with something nice and simple, but get in the habit of showing up, and then you can, you know, go the next level on it and work up from there.
Beautiful. If do you guys have any more questions?
Can we keep answering that one or no?
Yeah, go. I mean, we are going to wrap up soon,
Yeah.
but let's keep going.
There's so many tools, right? I'll bring it down to the basics, which is to be able to feel safe with all of our emotions. So if we want to regulate our nervous system, come back to the very basics of naming our sensations, our feelings, and our emotions. Yeah? So it's like, okay, if I just close my eyes right now, I'm about to do my TED Talk, for example, right? If I just close my eyes right now, what sensations am I feeling in my body? My heart is pounding, my feet feel tingly, my legs are like pulsing. So you just come back down to the sensations. Because so many people, right, and including myself, we've gone through the journey of addictions and external gratification because we're afraid to be with ourselves, with our body. So we come back to the basics. What are the sensations? Then what are the feelings? Okay, so my sensation is heart is pounding. So my feeling is I'm feeling a bit nervous. I'm feeling a bit discombobulated. I'm feeling a bit this, right? And then emotions. I feel fear. And so I feel anxiety. So it's really important to be able to work with the basics of sensations, feelings, and emotions. Name it, own it that it's ours and not project it, feel it, and let it be. And be okay with what we're feeling, to know it's okay. It's not, hey, I will one day be able to be that abundant person when I don't have fear anymore, or I don't have this addiction anymore, or I don't have this or that. It's, can I learn to love and accept myself even if this part or this addiction never went away? Even if this emotion never went away, even if this coping mechanism never went away, can I learn to love and accept myself? Can I feel worthy of that love and acceptance of others, even if this was to remain? And then when we do that, then we feel safer in that we are enough already. And then we're able to do more of the things, take the courageous actions, do the pieces, right? So basics, come back to our body and work on any addiction we have. I've overcome nearly every single addiction I have. You know, it's obviously an ongoing journey, but it's really, I've looked in the mirror and I've gone, what is every single addiction I had? You know, now I don't smoke, I don't do alcohol, I don't do drugs, you know, I sleep really well, I don't do social media scrolling, like all these things, because the less we're in reactivity and the less we're in the addictions, the more we're as our true self. And the more we can create from that true alignment. So
Beautiful, Jody.
share that piece. Yeah, thank you, darling.
Last question, yeah?
No, I was just curious of like from clients you've worked with, like can you just tell us some like success stories? Like, I don't know, I'm just curious to know like someone that's like, oh, someone that, you know, had no money and they did this and then XYZ happened, if you've got any.
So
Good question.
So many. You want to go first?
Oh no,
Testimonials.
Can I tell a Dr. Joe Dispenza? No, it was amazing. So, you know how I flew all the way to Switzerland? Okay. And then anyway, he told this story. I have to tell you this story. I tell everyone. His daughter, so it's a thing in his house. He does the visualization every morning, by the way, for 2 hours. Crazy. But his daughter said, he said to his daughter one day, teenage daughter, what are you kind of like working on? What are you manifesting at the moment? And she goes, you know what, Dad? I'm manifesting, I can't remember what store it was. She goes, I'm manifesting a huge shopping spree at Gap with my best friend. Like where we just go crazy and we get everything for free. And he's like, he's thinking, oh, you know, fuck, that's a little unreal. And he goes, okay, no problems. You know what to do. So he's like, every morning I could hear her, you know, set the alarm up. I could hear, you know, she was in her room. I knew she was doing the visualization practice. Guess what happened? It gives me goosebumps even still. She was shopping, and I think it was like 6 months later. She was shopping with her best friend at this store, unconscious that she was in this store with her best friend. The owner of the store comes up to her best friend and goes, hey, is your dad da-da-da-da-da? And the girl goes, her best friend goes, yeah. And the guy, the owner of the store goes, he did me a huge favor one time. He goes, so I want to repay your father. Girls, buy whatever you want. Here's a store. Here's
Oh my
no
gosh.
shit.
Love
Here
it.
is a store credit card. Go crazy and take whatever you want. She gets home that night and shows her dad, and like he was saying, just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of clothes. And now that's not my client's story, but that is a story where this shit works.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I still get goosebumps because it's quite unbelievable when
That's
you think
amazing.
about it.
Amazing. Yeah, great question. I have so many, whether it's, people being able to finally have clients just, flow into their business, whether it's money that they all of a sudden manifest through a different, avenue, whether it's public speaking online, TED Talks, stages. I've had many people manifest being on radio or TV or just opportunities in corporations or whatever, like a lot of things. The things I'm most proud about is when people's whole lives manifest into alignment. It's the public speaking, it's the money, it's the abundance. But I've had people work with me coming in thinking they know what they wanted, but they got what they needed, right? And so I've had people come to me and they thought it was going to be just public speaking, and then they've walked away from the program of losing 30 kilograms, not changing anything, but just by releasing a lot of the things that we've worked on, they've just lost all the weight that they've been trying to do for years. I've had people come to me with physical ailments that are very detrimental, and all of a sudden it's just healed. I've had people come to me and they've gone, you know what, you have this thing around abundance and manifesting a partner, right, that's aligned in that frequency. And I was like, yes, I have an actual process I take people through to manifest their dream partner. And so I've had many people I've taken through that, and I've been invited to weddings because they've manifested their dream partner, after that. It's amazing. So when it comes to owning our voice, I want everyone to see it not just through public speaking and communication, even though I teach those things, specifically too. It's my voice is about living a life so aligned that by the end of my life, I look back and know that there was nothing that I regret and that was misaligned, and I know I lived the most aligned life in this lifetime, right? That is at the end of our life, being able to voice to ourselves, I lived an incredible life. And so when everyone here takes away these tools that all these beautiful speakers have talked about, see it as how can I enhance every single area of life, because you can have it all. Don't just focus on the money, because then maybe you create the money, but then your health goes downhill, your relationships suck, right? You might take a little bit longer, maybe, to manifest all the abundance, but then you're creating a life where all areas of your life are aligned. So be open to having it all. That's a really important piece too.
Beautiful. So you guys served us, helped us. Now the question is, how can we help you? Any ask from your side?
I'd spoken before. The last book I wrote about 18 ways you make life way harder than it needs to be. I'll pass on the details to download the audio book. So it's just 18 ways book /audio. So you can listen to that and tune in. And it's like 18 chapters, 4 pages each. So it's a pick up, put down thing. And it's not rocket science, but there's some great reminders in there about, I could probably, just make this change here, and that's going to make a difference there. So everyone can get a copy of that.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I guess I'll open myself up. I'm now opening myself to travel and to do events with different organisations or businesses, or with different people and communities around the world again. I predominantly went online for many years after COVID, and now I'm saying yes to in-person opportunities. So if there's any organisations or people that would benefit from having a public speaking, emotional fitness coach, someone that can help with business or abundance or alignment or healing, any of these aspects, I'm happy to serve and see if it's aligned. And also feel free to follow me on Jody Dontje Coaching on Instagram. I give a lot of free content on there and support people as well. So Jody Dontje Coaching.
Your Instagram is good.
Oh, thank you. There we go. I didn't pay her to say that.
You can follow me on Instagram. I don't have a H. And then if you go into my link tree, I've got offerings there. I'm doing a free masterclass next week. You can book a free one-on-one with me where we can really dive deep into your goals and do integrations. Yeah, and then I'm doing a 21-day manifestation challenge coming up. Just if you follow me on Instagram, and if you want to go a little bit deeper and actually do the work, book something in with me, and
let's fucking go. Send us a hi.
Let's go.
Connect us. Ask any questions on Insta.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I also want to say thank you for the Lighthouse
Yes.
team.
Yes. Thank you, Lighthouse team.
They always sponsor us. They are the sponsor of the night,
Yes.
the Lighthouse studio.
you.
And
Thank you.
now it's time for the community. We always give the mic to community members, and Stella will present her project, Inspire. No, Inspire.
Yes.
Inspiral, yes. Okay, so we leave the stage for her, and we go on the other side.
Okay. Woohoo.
I love being in the
You
audience.
can stay.
No, I'm happy to sit up here.
I would love to just like soak
gonna
in the
take her
energy
seat.
with
Okay.
you guys. Just have a
Sarah, come.
Oh, you want me to sit?
Soak us in.
I was happy to sit up here.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can squeeze in with us.
Thank you.
Yay. This is not women against men in any way or form. Okay? We're all one. We're all one.
No, we're not. No, I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
Oh, this is cool.
Actually, this is your-
I'm testing the nervous system.
Yeah, breathe, baby.
Whenever you're
yeah?
ready, this is for the slide down.
Okay. Which one? Sorry?
Down.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Wow. Okay, so that's an interesting, but it's a perfect situation. So, yeah, my company Inspiro is actually going through a massive. It's a transition. I used to be a marketing and sales agency working with speakers. We were representing actually some of the biggest speakers like Tony Robbins coaching and some of those guys. And I recently separated from my ex, which was a interesting experience, and it was a pretty nerve-wracking. So I think I'm still in kind of fried out my nervous system, and I'm just repairing that at the moment. But I'm also great. I'm starting to be grateful for the experience, and so I'm resetting the company. And I'm starting to kind of tune in. I'm quite intuitive, so there's a lot of things that I'm just receiving messages and I'm following that guidance. So it's still really much unfolding, but I feel it's an online ecosystem laboratory to start to incubate more purpose-driven projects. Inspire is something that I always felt how long I have, because I don't want to go much over time, but maybe I'm going to just free flow with the experience. Yeah, so actually 2008, when I had this awakening experience, that's when Inspiro, the name, came to me. And I often don't know why I do what I do, but it just kind of shows up. And I had to create this company, and I had to create an agency, and I didn't know why. And so now the last few weeks that I decided to exit and to reset it, I found this old logo, and I'm Inspire Positive Change. I'm interesting. So different things are starting to just fall into place. And so now, how do I click?
I can help you.
Oh, yeah, you can. Okay. So yeah, so basically what Inspiro wants to become, I'm just kind of tuning into what that is, but I feel that being in the personal development space been amazing and a lot of great things that I've learned, but I'm also kind of opening up to a much wider kind of problematics and just environment that we live in. We can do all this work and yes, we can become amazing in our lives, but I'm also just looking around. For example, you were mentioning the traffic, the pollution, the shit. There's just so much stuff around that's actually really affecting us. And sometimes I feel that I'm living in this bubble. I'm really comfortable. I'm living in Bali, I'm having a really privileged life. But I'm kind of looking around, and I know that this stuff is going to be impacting my life and the future generations as well. So I just feel really called to do more things around it. And so this online incubator, it's really to bring together founders, companies, and people who are working on positive projects, because when we are in this, and I don't know about you guys, but I definitely feel this accelerated shift that we are going through, with AI, with tech, with environment, economy. and honestly, like I feel like we are like riding this wave and no one knows what's happening. But this is the time where like entrepreneurs, like startups, like all the people who are on the lead of change are really like innovating. Like there's a lot of opportunity at the moment and it's all happening. So I'm kind of like going like, okay, but how can we harvest the energy? How can we leverage? Like how can we bring things together in a even more effective way that is actually serving like ourselves, but not just ourselves, but like our environment, like the whole planet. So that's really what Inspiro is going to be, opening up this online incubator. And then there is this profit for purpose that, again, it's like a kind of like a channeled, thing that came. I was like, I just want to be donating 25% of the profit to local regenerative projects. But I'm like, imagine like if most of the companies, for example, here in Bali, would be donating even just like 1% or 5% or 10% or 20% of their profits to conserve the land, to take care of the trash, to look after. I'm like, wow, Bali could just flourish so easy. And sometimes these simple ideas, I'm like, why don't we do it? So I'm just, putting it out there that these are the kind of like ideas that, yes, sometimes find me, and then I'm just taking aligned action. Let's see what happens. There's a lot of things that I can do for myself, but then I also feel by bringing together this incubator, the right people, the right things can happen, and kind of like surrendering to that. So the opportunity is really I'm looking at like how to create the incubator into a model that is a financial model that's not just growth oriented, but it's a regenerative model. So how it can really benefit, like basically a win-win-win scenario for everyone who's involved, and then how the contribution part can actually be a pretty big part, because that's what I feel that many of us are building these amazing I think that it was you sharing about like some of the guys creating this amazing bath and creating these things, but where is the purpose? And like I feel that like often the purpose side is maybe we not talk about it enough, and then we kind of like go through these different stages and then kind of ticking the box and then like, oh, but we also need that. And so like that's what I'm curious about, how to build businesses from the beginning that it's all built in. And yes, it's really much like a initial phase, but I would love to be measuring things and almost like creating transparent business models that just basically are transparent fully. So for the launch, like right now we're opening up for the first 25 founders to come in and to be part of like the beginning stage of the project. And I really feel that and I'm just really kind of tuning in with alignment. I would love to be like creating these projects from that place of alignment. So without the rush, like it's not the traditional go-to-market strategy. Like I have access to, big networks but I don't necessarily want to go that way. I really want to like see like a different kind of launch, which is more about like from the inside out. And it's really about the right people coming in, the value alignment, like foundation is strong, and then in spiral is very much a spiral. So it's like spiral of consciousness. And I feel that, maybe that's what it is. Like maybe I'm just, here to kind of like bring that message and then see and guide. Like I really much have that. I think in the past I was running business in a really masculine way, and I needed to learn all the strategy and all the pushing and all that. And then now I'm really leaning into the feminine, which is like, how can we just like mother, like how can we just see and witness like an organization, a project to flourish. And I'm playing around with these ideas. These are really, really much new, but I love it. We have a small team. We had a big team. I just like downscaled, like we have right now a small team. And then, and I'm building from there. And so, yes. Yes. So any of you like feeling like impact focused and already working on projects or want to be working on projects, or feeling, more as a like mentor partner interested about, then come and talk to me. And investors as well, like that's where I guess, and I'm doing my own inner work, and like I feel really kind of like comfy about like my own like personal like situation, but I fear that a little bit of like I know how much money is available there, but I fear that fear of crossing that bridge and asking for, you know, for that next level. And that's something that I'm just like on like, I don't know, like I feel like a part of me, like I need to do it. Like I'm kind of like pushed to that, but then I'm also feeling that stretch. And it's interesting. So that's, I'm so happy to be sitting here with all of you guys and just feeling it.
But why do you need to do it? Why not you deserve to live a life like that you are doing what you want to do instead of I need to do it?
Yeah, I think that that's the savior thing. That I'm still like, I just 2 weeks ago that it came really strong, that I recognized that I had like such a strong, I think, I don't know if it's a belief from childhood, but something around like like a savior. I even wrote a blog post about it 2 weeks ago. I published it, and when it went out, I was like, oh my God, it's been there for like so many years. But I also want to be grateful for like it did teach me a lot, you know, and somehow like the universe put me on this path. I had some interesting stories, and maybe I just share like one. In 2008, I was a student living in London, and I started to have these awakening experiences. Like I would just like go into meditation. I couldn't like speak, or I couldn't interact with humans. I had these really weird, like strong energies like rushing through my body, to a point that I had to quit uni. Like I had to quit everything that I was doing, and I just completely needed to surrender. And I went into this 1 year of like, it was absolute like bliss and magic in one way. But I also didn't exist really in this like 3D reality. I was taken to Central America. I was gifted, like I was manifesting plane tickets. I lived with no money for 1 year. I had no money, like none. And people would like gift me plane tickets. Like people would give me their houses, and just weird stuff happened. And day after day, I was just going on this magical journey of surrender.
Abundance.
Abundance.
Yes,
You don't
it was
really need
actually
money
abundance.
to do what you want to do. You don't really need money. You just need to receive what you want.
Frequency of abundance.
Yes.
Let's
But that.
So let's co-create a world where we, companies and individuals, can be a force for good collaboration, innovation, and contribution. That's what you are doing.
Yeah.
Anyone that want to join this project, just connect with her. Maybe you manifested already each other tonight. And now we need to wrap up the...
Can we acknowledge the courage that it takes to sit up here, be so vulnerable, you know, to share a vision that's quite new for you as well, and just be here and share your truth. I just think it's amazing. So.
So now we can continue to stay here, or we can go downstairs. Actually, we can go downstairs. And,
Are the live streaming people still live?
Yeah, we are live now.
We'll say thank you to them as well. Thanks for online, wherever you are, for joining us.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for the beautiful energy that we experienced tonight.
Yes.
And also, I feel I stepped a little bit closer to my next vibration.
Yes. And can we give a big round of applause for our beautiful host, Andrea, today as well? Thank you.
Let's go.
All right. And thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for asking for what you need.